Okay.
Yeah, yes, Paul. Yes, how are you? You moved to Scotland, you told me. And that was a reason that we had a little pause in our interesting book, Mistaken Identity by Doug Dean. And today,
Yes.
Paul, you have for me chapter 9,
Yes, I'm in
isn't
Scotland.
it?
I'm in the Clyde Valley, and I'm with chapter 9, as you say, mistaken identity. Thank you for bearing with me. My wife and I are very happy in our new place. So, yeah, this there's a lot of times when we talk about some of the chapters in this book can be very heavy. And
Yeah,
this is definitely a chapter, I think, where it's starting to describe what I would call a level of awareness of who we are and how we've become the way we are. And it's really talking a lot about how everybody picks up all sorts of habits and mannerisms during their childhood. I mean, you and I, Nick, we both know that most people, by the time they're 6 years old, have picked up probably 90% of their habits and their perceptions to the world that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives.
yeah. Most people won't get out of the, I call it the 10% zone. So they're now
Yes.
set for a certain level, and they will go a little bit up and a little bit down, a little bit up, a little down, a little bit, a little down. They will attract a little bit better persons and a little bit less better persons. They will attract a little bit more money, and that's their life. Now it's set. That's a pity. But now, if you become aware, and that's where sometimes we argue about this book or we discuss this book and say, oh, Duck is a little bit more dark side than but I'm waiting for Duck to bring us the bright side of life,
Yeah.
um, and the hope
Morbid.
and the aspiration. And I know I didn't read the book up front. You're bringing me the book, so I'm really like a novice reader. I'm following you in this book and saying, "Oh, when will he tell me how we can change?" I know that we can change, and I know that Doug is a very good coach and a very good mentor. I learned a lot of him.
Mm.
So now I'm curious, and in this next chapter that yeah, he emphasizes that he rubs it in.
Mm. Mm.
He rubs it
Well,
in like in the first chapters. He's rubbing it in like, be aware you're programmed. Be aware
yes.
you're programmed, and
Yes.
it's
And there's meant to be when we make a decision that we feel stuck in our life or we feel overwhelmed or whatever feeling it is that spurs us on to want to understand more about ourselves or what's going on with ourselves at this point, it is an unsettling experience
mm,
because we are in normally some sort of comfort zone, the in this cushy place of all these comfortable habits that we've become used to, but we're not even aware where these habits have come from. But it's definitely disruptive because, as
yeah,
you know, we have an ego, and this ego, in fact, I was saying to someone today, I think I had two egos. I had my mother, who was like an ego on her own right, because she was wanting to keep me safe. And then I had my own ego, also trying to treat me like I was in survival mode. And, I love my mom, but that's what she did all the time. And, sometimes you may have other people in your life that are trying all the time to keep you safe. And that's what this ego
mm,
is doing. It's saying, no, don't try new things. I know you feel overwhelmed. I know you feel stuck, but let's just stay here because it's safe. So it's always going to
yes,
be a disruptive experience because that's ego fighting back.
yeah. Yesterday I listened to a part of a Bible study of Myron Golden. I love that guy, the way he's talking, and also when he's explaining the Bible. And he was explaining by being overwhelmed by situations. They said, when we are overwhelmed, that's the moment that we don't dare to lean in our destiny, our creator, God, whatever. So we are holding back, and we don't trust enough to be. But if we look around us and we look at nature, we should be assured that everything is okay, because everything is working very fine. We just don't work with it. So I'm very curious, and I know that identity that we created for ourselves, that we always create for ourselves, every day we are creating that identity, or we're holding it back and we are emphasizing it, or we're creating a new identity. That's something that I'm very curious how Doug will explain it, and how he will solve that problem.
Well, let's have a good chat about this after the chapter as well, and emphasize anything that perhaps may not be completely clear to someone new, but we can point it out because of the years we've been studying and learning.
Okay, go for it. There's a chapter.
Okay, thank you, Nick. So chapter 9, you're an imitation. And it says here an explanation of the word imitation. This is something Doug loves to do. He's always looking up the meaning of new words, and it's a very good exercise. Anyway, the imitation is defined as the assumption of behavior observed in other individuals. Imitation. So you're assuming, you're copying something many times without even thinking. Someone, the way they do a certain thing, you're doing it exactly the same way. I don't know if you've ever noticed an adult walking along with someone who's obviously a sibling, and you can see even the cadence of how they walk. They're almost like me and mini-me, and that's exactly what they mean. Everything is copied without even realizing it. So here we go. There's nothing better than the original. Whether you like it or not, you were brought up to be an imitation. When you were little, you started imitating your parents. You spoke the way they spoke. You ate the way they ate. You copied your dad shaving on your mum. Sorry, I was just thinking of what I used to do when I was little. Whatever you observed, you learned to copy. All you wanted was to be loved and accepted, so you started to copy them and to be accepted by them. Because of the judgment and rules imposed on you, conformity became the next thing you succumbed to. Not wanting to upset anyone or anything, and not wanting to stand out, you fell in line and continued to mimic and imitate the adults. No wonder people feel fake sometimes. That feeling you had growing up, wondering what was feeling off with you, was because you were handed a mask and told to wear it. From very early on, things didn't feel right to you. You watched your parents argue and worry and struggle with their own mistaken identity. As you learn from them, you learn to cover things up. Don't tell people what you're thinking. Keep your feelings to yourself. Don't speak unless spoken to. Be honest. Yet most people weren't. Are you confused? I sure was. Your mistaken identity is created from being taught to imitate or copy others. When you were able to think for yourself, you started worrying about what others thought of you. We say we're all individuals, yet we were told we should be the same as everyone else, to be sure we don't stand out. You're an imitation because you learned to pretend to be someone you're not, so you'd be liked. Get invited to parties, be included with the cool people, get picked for the team, or whatever else that made you feel like you fit in when you were young. You were afraid of being judged. How could you ever be the real you when you were raised to be so concerned about what others thought? Many people say they struggle with imposter syndrome. It's no wonder. You're not an imposter just because you're acting like one. I remember a time when I faked it. When I was in a middle school, running was an escape for me. I was running from lots of things in my life. So cross country running became an escape. And like anything I set my mind to, I got good at it. So I was the fastest runner in my school. I won the school track meet and qualified for the county track meet. For the first time, my dad showed up at the meet, and I was so happy he was watching in the stands. I remember turning the final corner of the 800-meter race. I was in second place, and I knew I could beat the leader. As I turned the final corner, I saw my dad in the stands, and I fell. I hit the dirt track, looked up, and saw my win turned into a loss. I faked it. I faked the fall to get attention. In fact, I faked the course. My coach and others ran out to see if I was okay, and I faked my explanation. I faked that I had pain in my chest that caused me to black out. I continued to carry the lie on through multiple medical appointments and tests. There was no way I was going to tell the truth. I faked the whole thing to get attention and make myself feel better about myself. I began imitating a victim, and I got really good at it. Turns out it wasn't so good for me. If you're reading this book, you may be searching for your authentic self. You're searching for a feeling of peace and contentment within yourself. The key to freedom is to be yourself. Take off the mask and show the world who you really are. Faking it and worrying what others think about you. Stop faking and worrying what others think about you. Stop imitating others to be liked. Be yourself. That's a heck of a lot easier. And that's the end of the particular chapter. There are always short chapters with this book. And it says here in the action points, if you want to free yourself, you're going to have to stop pretending to be somebody you're not. Name 3 ways you pretend to be somebody you're not. What's one thing you can stop doing that makes you feel like an imitation? Do that and you feel free. Then repeat it each day. So it's so much easier to be yourself. Think of how you struggle when you're pretending. Think of how much easier it would be if you could just be yourself. Don't worry about the consequences. If you live the truth will take care of everything else. And it's an interesting chapter, that, because really, this book is something you can read alongside, I would say, coaching that you can do with someone like, Nick or myself or both of us. Because what this chapter is really talking about is gaining self-awareness. It's starting to understand that your thoughts are all programming within your own self-conscious, and you learn a technique I would describe as becoming the observer. Do you know what I mean by that, Nick? Where you start to become aware of some of your thoughts, and you start to almost say to yourself, "Oh, hang on a minute. Right now, why am I feeling that way right now?" And then you sort of think, "Okay, is that true? Well, no, it's not true. That's weird. Well, why am I thinking that way? I'm thinking that way because I can consciously observe that it's a habit that's just kicking in through my emotions. that I've inherited in the way this book describes. But that's not really me. I don't really feel comfortable with that, and I need to start observing and changing that habit to something that I feel is me. Do you know? I know you know what I mean, don't you, Nick?
Yeah.
Do you want to expand upon that?
Yeah, and I think the crucial point there is that the most of people, that if you would ask it, what is your purpose here, they're getting very afraid because it's blank. It's they don't give in to something. They are here to get something instead of to give something or to create something, and that makes them to act like Doug, to rather fall and lose the race and being a victim, is instead of giving it all and see what happened and lean into that into that race, and maybe you win, maybe you don't win, but he chose at that moment to not to lean into his purpose, which was, if you run a race, the purpose of running a race is running as fast as possible and not to fall on purpose. So I think there, what you're saying is becoming aware that, do I really give in? Do I really live the life that I want to live? Do I hold back? Do I have a purpose? Am I just tiptoeing to the backyard grave? Like, am I too afraid of living?
Yes.
And that's a trap we fall into too often, too common, is that instead of, and that's not the ones who are diving from cliffs, and that's not the ones who YOLO and you only live once, and then going to the other extreme that you say, well, it doesn't matter, I'll do whatever. No, it's more becoming part of creation and being aware, well, I can be a very good dad. I can be the best mom I can be the best entrepreneur. I can mean something for my community and giving purpose to your life. And we have, as soon as you accept that you have a purpose here, now you can lean into that, and now you can start working on that, and you can becoming aware of that. So it's a metaphor. I take it as a metaphor. When you read it, I hear that for the first time. It's really, I think a lot of people are falling in the lost corner on purpose.
Well,
because it's easier to fall.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's easier to fall than to give it your all and seconds. And people are like, well, yeah, but I felt I couldn't help it. I felt, and I felt terrible, and I was, and the environment will say, poor you were not lucky, but you couldn't help it because you fell.
Sometimes it's you're left with this feeling because you don't want to stick out. It's actually better to be a good loser than a winner, and then everybody's going to think something about you. Oh, what will they all think? They'll think I'm too clever, or everyone will hate me, and in fact nobody's thinking anything about us.
That's fear of criticism. Also becoming aware, who are you competing? Who are you? If you really becoming aware that you only can win if you are the best version of yourself, you never have to beat someone.
That's right.
Because
but that's what we think, isn't it? No, but we think
that's
about competing.
That's what we are taught. Yeah, you go in rugby, you go in football. Did you beat? No one says, well, did you play the best you could today? And by consequence, what was the score?
Exactly.
But the score is not that relevant if you are the best version of yourself. And maybe that's the idea that you could take in the evening if you close the day, or if you let the sun fall down after behind the mountain, say, well, did I fell at the last corner today, or did I run my race?
Yes.
Did I fell on purpose today? Did I give it my all? Did I, or did I say, well, no, I'll imitate, or I fake it. I fake my day today, and I got also some attention. I think we are often guilty of that.
Yes.
Like, okay, good is almost good is also good.
Yeah, that's really good, Nick.
I love the science of getting rich, doing things in a certain way. It took me years to understand. Doing things in a certain way, in a way on purpose, in a way that you give it your all, in a way that you are creating, in a way that you are putting focus on in your actions, in what the things that you do, the way that you speak, in the way that you laugh, in the way that you shake a hand. Do it on purpose, do it with purpose, and not by coincidence.
Yeah, with someone said to me once, with intention. Be intentional.
Yeah, intention. That's a good word. Yeah, with intention, that you know what direction what is that handshake? What is the purpose of that handshake? What is the purpose of your smile? What is the purpose with which intention do you go by in the day? And if you becoming aware of that, then you don't have to fake. You don't have to fall in the lost corner.
Yes, and I would say, you know, if this sounds good, but you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, but how do I do that? How do I start doing that? I don't know about what you think, Nick, but I definitely think it's good to have someone you can talk to, some sort of mentor, some sort of coach, because they can act as the observer for you in many ways and help you to start to spot things and how to keep working towards that on a daily basis, because it is something you do need a little bit of support with.
I think, Paul, we should start a community. This is just an idea I have now. Maybe that's something which is like very accessible. What I while doing coaching, it's you start a program, you end the program. But then I always think, but it's not ended now. I gave it all. I give all my information, I have everything. But then I know, okay, now there maybe, and with this also with mistaken identity, it's an everyday process, and people like to share that, and I have to like continue. We have to think about that, Paul. Maybe that's something that we can organize. I don't know if you are into it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm into it. I'll definitely be up for that. I think that's a good idea. Definitely, it's a good idea. Yeah.
Let's have a beer over that. I like to
that's another good idea.
Beer.
Yeah,
I'd like two good ideas in one session. So, okay, bring it to landing. We bring it to the landing. It's. I think that don't fake your day. Don't fall at the last corner.
And if you feel, and if you feel you're a copy, or you feel your day perhaps you haven't done your best, then be good enough to forgive yourself, and the next day is a new day. It's a process,
and then and learn how to reprogram yourself. But I think with these chapters we are going on, and we will touch on that. But don't keep your mental thermostat always. You have to. If you never will switch it, the temperature will always be the same.
Exactly. Well,
so
the next
you will
chapter,
have to switch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you
next
have to
chapter is
reprogram that.
it's easier to be yourself. It's going to be chapter 10. So yeah, be kind, be patient with yourself, but keep asking questions. Keep thinking about being the observer of yourself.
Yeah, I think you should be kind for yourself, but you also should be honest to yourself, and know that there is, and accept the gift that you are here with on purpose,
Yes.
and that you're not an accident, that you're not coincidence, that you're not, there is something, and you have to, and as long you don't discover that, and as long you don't give into that, you will feel miserable.
Yeah, and still be thankful for that year.
That can be ice cream selling, that can be coaching, that can be being a good grandma, fantastic uncle, whatever you have to be, but you always can be something for someone.
And that's the pull that you're feeling. It's saying to you, there's more for me here in this world.
Yeah, that's your fuel, that's your engine, that's everything that will pull you forward. Okay, see
Always
you
good
in the
to see
next
you, Nick.
chapter, Paul.
All right, all the best, my
Always
friend.
good to see you. Bye.
Bye.